All right, this story is ridiculously confusing, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to absolutely confirm all the details. But Ocasio-Cortez has been accused of hiring her boyfriend on a job. She's been accused of paying him out of her campaign. And it all starts with this guy, Luke Thompson. So this site, the American Mirror, I have no idea what it is, but he does have a screenshot of the initial tweet. I think the tweet was live. It was taken down, okay? Essentially, Luke Thompson tweeted, "While you were having a nice Valentine's Day, AOC decided to put her boyfriend on staff, drawing a salary on the taxpayer's dime. Nice to see her adapting to the swamp so quickly." And this has got a phone number and this email address for house.gov. Now, the phone number is Cortez's office. It's a public phone number. And the email this is apparently a public listing for the U.S. So this is an interesting photo. And I don't know what this is, right? It says Roberts Riley staff, U.S. House of Representatives, and then he's got a phone number. So it would seem like Luke Thompson, who my understanding is he's a consultant, is drawing his conclusion based on this image. Now, a tweet was removed. They're disputing it. Okay, so Cortez tweeted, "Actually, this Cal designation is a permission so he can have access to my Google Calendar. Congressional spouses get G-Cal access all the time. Next time, check your facts before you tweet nonsense." To this, he responded with, "He's not your spouse. Is he being paid? At what level? It says staff, not spouse or boyfriend. Furthermore, he doesn't appear to be in any groups, and the House doesn't use Google. Are you giving him access to your official calendar? Why does he have his own email address? I'd also like to know, if he's not a government employee, in what capacity he's doing government work. Are you having campaign volunteers handle duties in your official office?" Saikat Chakrabarty, who I believe is chief of staff for Cortez, said, "He's not paid. We have no volunteers in the office. He's not doing any government work. He can see her calendar just like spouses, partners, family members, and other congressional offices. Check your damn facts before you report BS. Lazy journos need to learn to do their jobs." Luke said, "You're both lying." And he posted this. "New from a friend inside the House. Seems like more than calendar access to me. Care to revise your statement, AOC? It's an image. And it lists Robert Riley, or Riley Roberts, as division members, transition incoming Ocasio-Cortez, with an email for the House." Now, I don't know exactly how this works with the House. And Saikat Chakrabarty, Cortez, they're denying this. And we've got Refinery 29 wrote a story saying it's fake news. The only problem is they didn't source anything, right? So here's what we have so far. He's presented this image, which claims to show Riley Roberts as incoming staff. We've got this initial tweet, which says staff, U.S. House of Representatives. But the Daily Dot did some sourcing and got some statements so it may be that he's not on payroll. So there's been a lot of interesting statements. There's a ton of stuff flying around Twitter right now, and it's hard to know exactly what's going on. First of all, I'm so sick and tired of talking about this woman, but we're facing a kind of snowball rolling down a hill, that the more prominent she becomes, the more of an impact these stories have. Now, some critics on the left have been quick to point out, so what if she hired her boyfriend for a job? If he's qualified for the job, what does it matter? Trump's hired people that he's worked with, so whatever. And I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the idea of nepotism in government and all that stuff, but who cares? If she hired her boyfriend, really? Is that a big deal? But let's read what the Daily Dot has to say, because apparently they have some statements to say maybe she's telling the truth. And I'm going to say this too. If she really did hire her boyfriend, I don't think she'd lie about it, right? It's easy to catch if it's a lie. And then she's on the hook for the lie and the hiring. But let's read what Daily Dot has to say. On Friday morning, conservative podcast host Luke Thompson was temporarily suspended from Twitter after he stumbled across an email account attached to Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's boyfriend, Riley Roberts, and tweeted out a photo of the email. And that's the one we saw earlier. Thompson wrote, "AOC decided to put her boyfriend on staff, drawing a salary on the taxpayer's dime. Nice to see her adapting to the swamp so quickly." He followed that up with a picture from a source of the internal House directory that called Roberts an incoming employee. Well, it would seem like that's fairly definitive, right? While Twitter may have suspended him for sharing an email address and phone number, it turns out Thompson didn't have his facts in order about Ocasio-Cortez's employing her boyfriend. The tweet started going viral and was retweeted over 1,500 times in an hour before it was taken down by Twitter, sparking outrage. Popular right-wing accounts through Twitter was censoring negative news. What is it? They get a copy editor. So this tweet started to go viral. And this is one of the things I first saw. Your account has been locked. Look, his account. There's a lot of people trying to make it seem like his account was locked for calling out Cortez and like it's political. No, it had a phone number in it. So I'm sure whoever is working at Twitter saw the phone number and email and says, whoa, you can't do that, not realizing it was a public directory. I will say, this is another problem with Twitter is censoring, shutting people down, suspending them. Just because it's a phone number and an email doesn't mean it's private information. Thompson said he was locked out of his account and that Twitter cited the company's rules against posting private information. The tweet included a phone number for Roberts. That's actually not true, okay? So the phone number is apparently for Cortez's office, not. So Betsy Woodruff tweeted, Al Thompson, who tweeted this morning about AOC's boyfriend having a house email address, has been locked out of his Twitter account per screenshot. Cortez and her office said immediately, the idea that the congresswoman is paying her partner on the taxpayer's dime is a gross mischaracterization. She fired back. That's a calendar designation. We read that. Her chief of staff, Saikat Chakrabarty, doubled down, tweeting at Thompson, he's not paid, we have no volunteers. I think we read that too. Chakrabarty later tweeted, spouses and partners normally get mail.house.gov email addresses for the purpose of getting calendar access. Roberts, who has appeared in a few profiles of Cortez, is not listed in Legistorm, the website that tracks staffers, aides, and interns in congressional offices. Though I will say the listing posted by Thompson, I think his name is, shows Thompson. It shows incoming staff, so maybe that's why it's not in there. Chakrabarty told the Daily Dot, the short of it is you need a .gov email to get access to a calendar. Unfortunately for Luke Thompson and his eager retweeters, the email address isn't at all out of bounds, and it isn't even an infrequent occurrence. A spokesperson for the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer explained, from time to time, at the request of members, spouses, and partners, from time to time, at the request of members, spouses, and partners, at the request of members, let's try this again. At the request of members, spouses and partners are provided house email accounts for the purpose of viewing the members' calendar. A source familiar with the matter explained to the Daily Dot that Roberts was designated under the incoming label because Ocasio-Cortez is a new member and was designated as such during transition activities to the Congress. In fact, everybody in her office appears as incoming in the House's internal system. It is not because Roberts was joining her team. And I'll say this too, I think this is probably the most definitive we can get. If a spokesperson for the Office of the Chief Administrative Officer is saying this is normal, then ultimately I didn't care in the first place. But I think we can, maybe I don't know why he needs the email, but sure, if he wants to get access to a calendar, I don't think he needs an email to do it. But whatever. Even if Roberts was employed by AOC's office, it would not have technically run afoul of the nepotism clause in the members' congressional handbook. The handbook states that members of Congress may not employ any relatives in their offices. Since AOC and Roberts aren't married, it wouldn't have drawn a red flag. However, the handbook also notes every employee must certify a relationship to any member of Congress on a certificate of relationship form. Now, come on there, Daily Dot. You're stepping on. Okay, come on. Nepotism rules are there for a reason. Just because they're not officially married doesn't mean it's not nepotism. They're in a relationship, okay? So, I mean, I understand the legal designation for like what a relative is, but is the implication here that, well, technically it would be okay if they didn't legally get married? So, no, I still think we have these rules for a reason. There are workarounds that members of Congress do sometimes use to pay their relatives. For example, Steve King of Iowa is infamous for employing his family members year-round as members of his campaign staff. And I want to point out, too, there's a lot of criticism to go around for, like, Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, and Steve King, too. I don't think anybody should be sticking their neck out for this guy. I mean, if they're going to, I'll put it this way, right? If he's been accused of doing the same thing as Cortez, if he's been accused of making statements, he made one statement about white nationalism. It's like, look, man, you're going to criticize Cortez, more importantly, Ilhan Omar, for what is perceived to be anti-Semitism. Well, I think it's absolutely important to point out Steve King, too. You know, a lot of people, I think when it comes to criticism of members of Congress, of politicians, or anyone in the tribal culture war sense, actually, I'll put it this way. When I semi-criticized Ilhan Omar. Like, because ultimately, for those that aren't familiar, she said it's all about the Benjamin's baby in reference to like Israel lobbying, got a lot of criticism for it. I said, I think it's fair to point out you can criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic, but she touched on an issue that, hits at some cultural sensitivities. I had a bunch of people telling me, oh, are you going to defend her free speech? It's like, well, hold on, right? She wasn't banned or suspended or censured, so her speech is fine. They just asked her to apologize. What's the big deal? Anyway, I don't want to rant too much. Make sure we don't go too long on these. So ultimately, I'll say this. I'm not just going to outright trust Ocasio-Cortez. I'm not going to trust the Daily Dot either, because it definitely seems like they're playing a partisan side on this. But if they do have a statement from a spokesperson, I think just leave it where it is. But at the same time, I guess it doesn't mean don't keep investigating. If it turns out she did hire him and she's trying to sweep it under the rug, I think that'd be important too. But ultimately, I made this video because it's getting a lot of traction. It's going viral, and I'm seeing a ton of people, like Charlie Kirk is tweeting about it, and it's popping off. So there you go. There's good old centrist Tim trying to be rational about what the hell's going on in politics. But stick around. More videos to come, and I will see you in a few minutes.